Welcome, soul seekers and truth walkers. Before we begin, if this message stirs something in you, please like, share, subscribe, and consider supporting with a super thanks or donation. Your help keeps these ancient voices alive. Among the many striking prophecies of the Hopi people, guardians of one of the oldest spiritual lineages in North America, is a quiet but chilling warning. Children will turn away from the teachings of the elders. It may sound simple, but to the Hopi, this is no casual statement. It marks a spiritual fracture, a signal that the sacred bond between past and future is unraveling, that when wisdom is dismissed, the balance between humanity and earth begins to collapse. Today, in a world of distractions, speed, and noise, that silence between generations grows louder. The old ways are fading. Ceremony, language, and stories are slipping through our fingers. But the earth remembers, and the elders are still speaking if we choose to listen. Stay with us. In this series, we'll explore the sacred echoes of the Hopi and why their warnings may be more urgent now than ever. Thank you for being here. In Hopi tradition, an elder is not merely someone who has lived long, but someone who carries the story of the people. They are living libraries, guides, keepers of memory. And their knowledge is not just wisdom, it's instruction for survival. Encoded in their ceremonies, stories, and daily rituals are the hard-won lessons of how to live in harmony with the earth, with spirit, and with one another. Their voices carry the memory of drought and abundance, conflict and peace, cycles of destruction and renewal. Through them, the present is stitched to the ancient past, the time of the first people who emerged into this world after surviving worlds before. To turn away from the elders in Hopi eyes is not just a loss of respect. It is a spiritual rupture, a tearing of the sacred thread that binds generations, land, and destiny together. And when that thread breaks, the people become vulnerable. In times of purification, times like these, the teachings of the elders are not nostalgic relics. They are roadmaps. The Hopi prophecy doesn't merely say that children will be rebellious or choose a different way. It speaks of something deeper, something far more devastating. It warns that the younger generations will reject the wisdom of the ancestors. They will stop speaking the sacred language. They will abandon the ceremonies that maintain balance. And they will follow the other path. A path marked by greed, confusion, forgetfulness, and disconnection from spirit. This isn't just personal rebellion. It is the unraveling of a sacred world. The consequences are not vague or abstract. They are specific, and they are dire. Cultural collapse, where ancestral languages vanish, and with them, whole ways of understanding reality. Spiritual collapse, where the soul forgets how to pray, how to listen, how to be humble before the sacred. Ecological collapse, where the land, once regarded as a living relative, becomes nothing more than a resource to be consumed. And moral collapse, where the compass handed down by the elders is tossed aside in favor of instant pleasure and ego. The Hopi saw this coming, and they did not speak these words in anger. They spoke them in warning. Because this collapse, painful as it is part of a larger cycle, a precondition to what they call the Great Purification. A time when the earth itself would tremble. A global shaking, not just of land and sea, but of human hearts. It will separate those who walk in harmony from those who live only for themselves. The question is not whether this prophecy is coming true. The question is, which path are we walking? In today's modern world, the Hopi prophecy is no longer hidden in shadows or sealed in ancient scrolls. It is playing out before our very eyes, across continents, cultures, and communities. Young people are increasingly disconnected from their roots. Indigenous languages are vanishing at an alarming rate, each one a lifeline to the spirit of a people severed. Ancient ceremonies, once sacred, are now either abandoned or worse, commercialized and hollowed out. Elders, once the honored storytellers, healers, and wisdom keepers, are replaced by influencers. their voices drown beneath the endless scroll of content. Attention spans shrink. Anxiety and confusion about identity grow. Even within indigenous communities, the floodwaters of modern distraction threaten to wash away centuries of tradition. And the Hopi were not alone in seeing this. From the Andes to the Arctic, from the plains of Africa to the jungles of Asia, many indigenous traditions carry similar warnings. That one day, the young will mock the old. That the sacred songs will no longer be sung. That the ancestors will weep. Thomas Baniasia, a respected Hopi elder and one of the 4 messengers chosen to carry their warnings to the world, said this in the 1970s. When the children no longer sit at the feet of the elders, the world is in danger. The teachings must be passed on, or we will lose the way. This is not just a cultural crisis. It is a spiritual emergency. The wisdom of the elders is not outdated. It is encoded survival. Not just for indigenous peoples, but for all of humanity. The question is, will we remember in time? The prophecy is not a condemnation of youth. It's not about rebellion or change. It's a warning about forgetting. In Hopi thought, every person is born into a sacred cycle. The role of the young is not to become replicas of the old, but to carry the spiritual memory forward, to adapt it without breaking it. Without memory, humanity becomes like a tree with no roots. It may stand tall for a while, but when the storm comes, it will fall. The Hopi teach that this forgetting is not just a personal loss. It's a danger to all life, especially during the end of a world cycle. A time, they say, when the earth begins to cleanse herself, to shake, burn, flood, and purify. And in such a time, only those who remember will survive. Those who have listened to the elders, who know the rhythms of the land, who understand the power of prayer. They will know when to move, how to act, and where to find shelter. This isn't fear, it's guidance, a call to remember, before the forgetting becomes final. The chain of knowledge from elder to youth is sacred. It is like the Kiva ladder, a wooden ladder leading down into the earth, into the ceremonial chamber where rituals are performed, where stories are shared, and where spirit meets silence. But if that ladder is broken, the people cannot enter. They cannot descend into the mystery, the memory, the meaning. Today, many of those ladders are broken. Languages lie in silence. Ceremonies are forgotten or distorted. The voices of elders are drowned out by the endless scroll. The connection is fragile. The link between ancient wisdom and modern life is fraying. And yet, not all is lost. Something is stirring. Across nations and tribes, some ladders are being rebuilt. Young indigenous people are learning their languages again. Not in schools, but in circles. By firelight. With breath and heart. Storytelling is rising on podcasts, in short films, through songs. Not to entertain, but to awaken. Ceremonies are returning. Not for show, but for the spirit. And in quiet corners of this noisy world, some children are choosing elders over algorithms. This, too, was foretold. The Hopi said that in the time of forgetting, there would also be remembering, that a new generation would come, not perfect, not pure, but willing to retrace the path, willing to carry the bundle, willing to sit and listen again. In this way, even the prophecy of collapse carries a seed of hope. It is not just about warning, but about return. Return to balance. Return to respect. Return to the sacred path. Because the earth will cleanse, but she will also renew. And those who remember, those who walk the path of humility, gratitude, and wisdom, they will become the roots of the world to come. The ladder is still there. We just have to climb down and listen. Though the prophecy arises from Hopi land, Its message speaks to the entire earth. Every people once had elders. Every land once told sacred stories, performed rites of passage, and lived in rhythm with the land. But something changed. Modern civilization built taller buildings, but forgot the roots. It silenced the elders, placing them in homes, dismissing their wisdom, reducing their stories to myth or superstition. In doing so, we did not just lose tradition. We lost direction. The rise of anxiety, climate despair, and social fragmentation. These are not merely technical problems. They are symptoms of a deeper hunger, a spiritual famine, a famine of meaning, of memory, of reverence. And the answer is not new. It will not come from machines, or markets, or algorithms. The answer is ancient. It lives in the voice of the elder, in the song of the earth, in the ceremony that reminds us who we are. The Hopi knew this, and they knew that in the time of great forgetting, some would remember. Those who listen now may yet become the storytellers of what comes next. In the spirit of Hopi prophecy, there are ways we can respond, not with fear, but with remembrance. Listen to the elders. Seek out the wisdom keepers, not just for facts, but for feeling, for the deep pulse of memory they carry. Sit with them. Ask their stories. Honor their silence as much as their words. Let their lives be a living library. Revive the traditions. Support the return of language, ceremony, and ecological knowledge. These are not relics. They are medicine. They are blueprints for how to walk in harmony again. Slow down. The sacred does not shout. It whispers. Create space in your life for ritual, for reflection, for storytelling. Turn off the noise long enough to hear what the earth is saying. Wisdom takes time to grow, to speak, and to be received. Teach the children. Do not just give them information. Give them stories. Give them roots. Help them feel the sacred pulse of the past, so they can walk with purpose into the future. This is how memory survives. Honor the earth, not as a resource, but as a relative. Return to the Hopi principle of balance, living with the land, not above it. When the earth is treated with reverence, she responds in kind. Be a bridge. If you are young, seek the old. If you are old, offer yourself. Be the link that repairs the chain. Be the ladder rebuilt. The prophecy does not demand perfection. It asks only that we remember, that we return, that we walk again, not in fear, but in balance. This is how we begin. The prophecy stands, not as doom, but as a choice. Children will no longer listen. That is the warning. But hidden in the warning is a question. Will we return to listening? The Hopi do not speak only of endings. They speak of beginnings, of the fifth world, a time of renewal after great purification. But not all will enter. Only those who live in balance, in humility, in truth. Only those who remember. We are at the crossroads now. The ladder between the worlds, between forgetting and remembering, is before us. Will we climb? As White Bear, a respected Hopi elder, once said, "We are the ones we've been waiting for." So the question is not just whether the children will listen. It is whether we will speak again. Truthfully, reverently, bravely. Whether we will pick up the ladder, restore the story, sing the old songs, and pass them on before the wind carries them away. Because prophecy is not fate. It is a mirror, and what happens next depends on what we choose to see. Thank you for walking with us through the sacred echoes of Hopi prophecy. If this message stirred something within you, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support keeps these ancestral truths alive. We'd love to hear your reflections. Which part of the prophecy spoke to your heart? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And be sure to click the bell icon so you won't miss our next journey into indigenous wisdom, prophecy, and the shifting earth. Until next time, stay rooted, stay awake, and walk in balance.